This is the Bates Bobcast, our weekly podcast where we take a look at the week that was in Bates athletics. My name is Aaron Morse, and this week we're celebrating a second consecutive men's squash national championship for Ahmed Abdel Khalek. The squash team sent a total of 5 players to individual nationals overall, and we went with them. Both our lacrosse and both our tennis programs went undefeated this past week, and track and field put up great times at their final meet before nationals. All that and more coming up on the Bates Bobcast. This past weekend, the men's and women's squash teams traveled to individual nationals as Ahmed Abdel Khalek looked to defend his national championship. And he did exactly that. On Friday, he defeated Rochester's Neil Cordell 3-0 in the round of 16. Then in the quarterfinals on Saturday, he faced St. Lawrence's Mustafa Bayoumi and won 3-2 in a tight battle. Bayoumi, a longtime friend of Abdel Khalek's, helped coach him the rest of the way. Abdel Khalek defeated Trinity's Rick Penders 3-1 in the semifinals later that day. Then on Sunday, Abdel Khalek knocked off Rochester's Ryose Kobayashi 3-1 in a dramatic match that featured multiple injury timeouts and a thrilling 15-13 win for Abdel Khalek in Game 3 and a tight 13-11 win in Game 4 to clinch the championship. Abdel Khalek is our male Bobcat of the week, and we talked to him right after Sunday's match concluded. The win over Bayoumi in the quarterfinals was huge.
Well, I knew that the winner of that match was going to win the tournament, especially after Amr Khalifa lost, the number 2 seed. So inside of me, I just knew that was a turning point match for me. I needed to give it more than 100%. So I'm happy I got out with a win.
And then Bayoumi is kind of cool, kind of became in your corner after that. What's that like?
Yeah, Bayoumi and I played on Team Egypt for 6 years in a row. So he knows my game, I know his game. So I really feel comfortable when he coaches me because he knows what I should do, he knows my shots, he knows where I'm good at, where I'm bad at, you know what I mean? So I really feel comfortable when he coaches me. And it's not really about winning and losing when 2 Egyptians play. You know what I mean? Like, even if I had lost and he continued, I would have coached him too. So, yeah.
Awesome. Now, I know we talked before how you really play, for your dad and everything. I know you talked to him a lot on the phone between matches and whatnot. Have you spoken to him yet? What do you guys talk about?
Yeah, I've spoken to him for like a minute after the match just to tell him that I won. But I honestly, if I owe it to anyone, I owe it to my dad. I didn't want to play, and when you're not hungry anymore, you just don't want to get on court, you don't want to train. He just asked me to do it for him. And if you want to win, you really need to find someone precious to you or something precious to you to play for. And I just did it for him.
I know also you have a great relationship with a lot of the parents that surround the squash program. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, they have been more than supportive of me, on and off court, especially Mr. Cannon, Mr. Burke, Mr. Mitchell. Those 3 have had they really, words can't express how I really feel about those people. Like, if I keep thanking them for a decade, I won't be able to finish. I swear, they have done so much for me.
I mean, was it pressure more to win it again, or was the pressure to finish out with the winning streak? Both, maybe. Yeah.
Both. It's very hard. But I was just trying as much as I can to eliminate all of that BS, you know what I mean, and just play the match. But it's still very hard. But I'm happy it worked out.
How cool is it to have all these supporters rooting you on? I mean, the Bates outnumbered the Rochester.
Huge difference. When you're playing by yourself, it feels like no one cares. But when all of those people come, and even alumni and all your team, like literally all of my teammates are here today. Men and women, all of them. How I'm supposed to feel, like having breakfast, all of us together, and even last night when we were hanging out together in the lounge, it gives you a great feeling like these people got my back. Like win or lose, they have got my back. So it's a great feeling, and it made a huge difference having them by my side today.
I know we've talked before how you're not going to pursue professional squash full time, but you're probably still going to play a lot, right?
Maybe I'll pursue coaching career, but not. I don't want to play in the pro tour. Maybe just coaching career, like as a part-time job, not a full-time.
I know you were coached up by Pat a lot throughout your career. What's that relationship been like?
Well, Pat has been like a brother to me, big brother and a mentor, and he fought for me in order to get into Bates, and I would never forget that, because without him, I wouldn't have been here talking to you now.
Now, after you touched on this previously, but after you beat Bayumi, you basically knew you were going to win it all. Is that a fair statement?
No, not at all. No. It's different. Last year I beat Kobayashi 3-love in like 25 minutes. I knew it wasn't going to be the same. It's different when it's like you're playing someone in the semifinals, and when you're playing him in the finals, or even when you're playing head-to-head. Each match has its own circumstances. So you need to prepare for each match by itself, you know what I mean?
How are you able to overcome the knee issue? What happened there?
I don't know. I didn't really feel it until they told me. So I was just making sure that the blood didn't appear, because if it had appeared, I would have lost the game. Yeah.
Gotcha. And I mean, both of you had injury timeouts. I mean, so it's pretty physical competition there?
Yeah. There was so much interference, especially in the third game, because both of us knew that the winner of the third game would win the match. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then, so Kobayashi, you mentioned he looked like he was improved from last time. What was challenging about him?
Well, he played way better. He was fighting so hard. Last year, he wasn't really fighting as much, or maybe I was better. I don't know. I don't know, but this time even he was just getting to each and every shot I played. It's very frustrating when you know that this is a winner for me, I should win this point, and then he comes out of nowhere and he wins the point. You know what I mean? So instead of being a winner for you, it's a winner for him. It was very frustrating.
Has it hit you yet that you're back-to-back national champ?
No. I was sick a week before the tournament, and I started playing 3 days before it started. So I was preparing for myself to lose, and I didn't, so it's great.
Junior Ahmed Hatata, now a 3-time All-American, and junior Darius Campbell also participated at nationals for the men's team. Meanwhile, the women's team sent first-years Christina Alexova and Vicky Arjun to nationals as well. Alexova advanced to the Holleran Division C finals, and Arjun advanced to the Holleran Division D consolation finals. Head coach Pat Kosker talked about Abdel Khalek's championship and more after the matches were all over.
That was really special, and credit to Rio and the Rochester team. I mean, they had a great season, and that was some of the best squash that we've seen in a really long time. But Ahmed was really tested, and I haven't seen that in a couple years.
I thought it very interesting that the guy he beat in the quarterfinals, Mustafa Bayumi, kind of came into his corner. Did come into his corner. What was that like?
Yeah, well, they're like brothers. They've known each other for a long time, and that's great. That's what college squash is all about. Everyone helps each other out, and we're opponents on the court, but we're all teammates.
Now, the families all support the players so much. I mean, Ahmed has a great relationship with the Cannons and multiple other families. So what's that like?
We've really created a family. It was here before I started coaching, but it's something that's really important to me and important to the kids. A lot of our kids, aren't fortunate enough to go home on the weekends or go home over break, and so it's nice to have a support system in place, and our parents are just extremely generous and loving, and it really helps us on the court. It makes a difference for the coaches and for the kids, and that's what playing sports in college and playing intercollegiate athletics is all about.
The 2 injury timeouts in the final match, what does that say about the physicality of this game?
Again, that was one of the most back and forth matches I've seen. The score is just not representative of how close that match was, and I think it helped both players in a way. I know it sounds bad because they were injured, but I think just catching their breath and refocusing a little bit. The play was just so frenetic on court that the 3 minutes or 5 minutes here and there just I think helped refocus. But yeah, that match had a little bit of everything.
Now, I know this was the first nationals for Christina and Vicky, and they both advanced, well, Vicky to the consolation finals and Christina to her brackets finals. So what do you think their experience was like, their first nationals?
Well, I hope they had fun. They had really special seasons. I'm just so proud of both of them. And their future's really bright, but they played great. This is a really, as we talked about, this is a tough environment. This a bunch of college players and some of the top competition that they're going to face all year, and they just did really great. And I'm really proud of them, and the future's bright for them and for the women's squash program.
Obviously, you're not going to have Ahmed back next year, but you'll have Ahmed Hatata back next year. He had kind of a learning experience this week, didn't he?
Sure, yeah. He had a tough draw, and then I think he underperformed, but that's okay. You can't always play your top squash. He had a brilliant season. He was undefeated all season, and to suffer his first loss in the first round of the top flight of the top 16 players in the country, there's no shame in that. And he'll learn from that. He's a world-class player. He'll come back and lead us next year, and Ahmed Abdel Khalek will be with us, whether he's on court with us in practice or not. His legacy is cemented, and he'll always be with the Bates Squash program.
It was a great week to be a Bobcat, as the lacrosse teams win a combined 4-0. The women's lacrosse team defeated Wellesley 11-3 on Wednesday and shut out Wesleyan 12-0 on Saturday. The shutout win is the Bobcats' first since 2007 and their first ever against a NESCAC opponent. Goalkeeper Hannah Jeffrey was named the NESCAC Women's Lacrosse Player of the Week for her efforts as she tallied a total of 23 saves over the course of 2 games for a save percentage of 88.5%. Jeffrey has led the Bobcats to their first 3-0 start since 2007, and she's our female Bobcat of the Week. How cool was it for you as a goalkeeper to get a shutout the other day against Wesleyan?
It was pretty cool. I've never done it before, so that was really exciting, and it was even more exciting to do it against a NESCAC opponent because they're the better opponents that we play in our schedule, and it just kind of made it that much better to be able to do it against a good team.
And the team right now is 3-0. What do you attribute to the great start?
I think all of our returners have put in a lot of effort to kind of get where we are, and the best thing about Saturday was that it was a team win. The offense did their job, scoring goals and keeping possession, and the defense played phenomenally. I know, I get the credit for the shutout, but I could have done it without my defense because they played unbelievably well, and some of those shots I didn't even have to move for because they made it so easy for me. So it's what you want from your defense, and it was really awesome.
And then for you personally, obviously, how does this team compare so far to teams you've previously been on here at Bates?
I think, every year is fun, but there's 10 seniors on the team this year, and those are some of my best friends, and that makes it really awesome to kind of play and win with them.
How did you start in lacrosse back in the day playing goalkeeper?
I actually started because our goalie in my youth league one day just didn't want to play, and so I stepped in and played for her and never stopped.
What's been some of the things you've learned through the years about what makes an effective goalkeeper?
You have to have confidence, and you have to kind of not get down on yourself when they score, and I think that's kind of the most important thing, to just be level-headed.
So a short memory is very important?
Yes.
And then I know you're a senior now, but what made you decide to come to Bates back in the day?
I don't know. I just fell in love with the school, and I know people say that, and it's super cheesy that when you come on campus, you just kind of knew, and I did, and it didn't hurt that I was going to be able to play lacrosse, so that was definitely an added bonus and all the stuff that Bates kind of offers you was really great.
A couple of home games this week. Babson, I believe, on Wednesday here, and then hosting Amherst on Saturday. Obviously, you're probably very familiar with both teams. What do you know about them?
Obviously, we're pretty familiar with both teams, and we're not overlooking Babson at all because they're a great team, but it's obviously always really fun to play a NESCAC team at home, and I think we're all pretty excited about this weekend, and then hopefully we'll get one more win tomorrow and go into the weekend 4-0, which would be really nice.
And what do you think this group of seniors has learned over the 4 years about what it takes to succeed in the NESCAC?
I think just the seniors have put in a lot of effort, and we had kids who started their freshman year, and we had kids who worked really, really hard to kind of get a starting position this year and last year, and I think that's kind of made all the difference because we all know exactly how to play together, and we push the team and push everyone at practice, and we have a great group of seniors who really want to play to the best of their abilities this year.
What are some of your goals maybe in the upcoming games throughout the rest of the year? What are you thinking about what you want to achieve?
I think just kind of consistency, and so far we've had it in the past couple games, but it's really great when the team plays together and you have offense clicking and defense clicking, and that's how you win games, and that's pretty much all you can ask for.
From the academic perspective, how is your capstone project going? I know you're a math major, right?
Yep, I'm a math major, and so we do a capstone, and you get into a group of 4 or 5, and you kind of pick a topic, and my group is doing the most significant digit, and then we'll present that at Mount David when we're done.
And you have to balance that with lacrosse. And so how's that time management work out?
It's definitely a lot of time management. I definitely try and use all the little awkward 20-minute periods of my day to kind of get work done, but because I know I have practice, it probably takes about up like 3.5 hours of my day, so can't be in the library from 4 to 8 o'clock at night. So.
All right, Hannah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
The men's lacrosse team won in dramatic fashion on Saturday over Wesleyan by a score of 12-11 in overtime. Jack Allard scored the winning goal with less than 5 seconds to go in OT. Then the Bobcats dominated the University of New England on Sunday, winning 19-4. Bates is 4-0 for the first time since 2006, and they are ranked 6th in the nation. We caught up with head coach Peter Lasagna to talk all things Bates men's lacrosse. Well, Coach Lasagna, a great 4-0 start to the year for the men's lacrosse team. First of all, what do you think so far has allowed the success from last year to carry over to this year?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of it, as we are seeing, not just in the fact that we've won these games, but how we have won them, is that the maturity gained from last year's experience and being in really tough games against quality teams and finding ways to win has carried over. And obviously, always as a coach, you hope that that's going to happen, but each group is different. Each team has a different personality, and it's been really gratifying to see how these young men have dealt with, getting down early and just playing through it and keeping to our game, keeping to our style, and being confident enough to make plays.
And already this year, you guys have faced some tough opponents. I mean, you're up against a ranked Endicott team to start the year. And then this past weekend, Wesleyan and their NESCAC opener gave you all you could handle. I mean, how exciting was that game? Or were you not thinking exciting? You were more thinking, no, this is too close for comfort.
I was absolutely thinking that this is too close for comfort. I was also thinking, welcome to the NESCAC, where we were very aware of we know how good Wesleyan is. We also knew that they had a very, very important player from 2 years ago, Quentin Delafera, who was out last year. We knew he was back, and he will be, I predict, one of the best players in the NESCAC, one of the best players in the country, just a gifted, really fast, really talented athlete. So, you add that guy back to a pretty good team that lost a couple pieces, but also returned some very strong people. And again, I mean, look at the scores from the NESCAC. We're on the bus ride going home, and you're just looking. The blowout was Amherst 10-7 over Bowdoin. I mean, there are no easy outs in this league, and our veterans understood that before the game. Our youngest guys now know that.
And who among maybe the young guys has stood out so far, perhaps in this early through 4 games?
I would say that of the youngest people. Eli Cooper, probably, against Endicott, as you said, a very, very tough and veteran squad with, I believe, one of the best face-off men in the country. He gave us all we could handle. And to have an antidote and to have another face-off guy, matchups are really critical. For face-off men in lacrosse, so that you could have stats don't mean that much. You just could have 2 people that either match up really well or don't. And so Sam Francis is going to be very, very effective against a whole slew of people. And then there might be a matchup, and Endicott was one of those, where Sam just didn't match up great with that guy, and Eli did, and at least gave us a fair fight. And then our wings then did a really good job. But I would say of our newest people, that I would probably single out Eli, and then everybody else is a year older. And you see, people that had some nice junior years flourish as seniors. Charlie Hildebrand deserves mention. I mean, he's somebody, again, gets very little hype, is just an incredibly steady lacrosse player, really anchored as a junior, anchored the second midfield for us last year, which statistically is as efficient a midfield as you're going to find. And Charlie is just playing like, the senior that we hope all seniors are going to turn turn into. Just incredible confidence, really high lacrosse IQ in every situation, a coach on the field, I mean, all those sort of cliches. So he's been, and I think he's averaging almost 2 goals a game. So he's not somebody probably that figures in enough scouting reports, who has just done great things for us.
And I know we talked to Andrew Melvin last week after his great performances in the first 2 games. What are you seeing from him so far?
Well, again, I mean, I think, everybody starts their defensive scouting report, I would imagine, with Charlie Fay, Jack Allard, and Kyle Weber. So, and those guys are a handful for anybody. But then you add, Andrew Melvin and Jake Walsh and Charlie Hildebrand and Clark Jones and, Wes Shrewsbury and as the numbers demonstrated on Sunday, we go pretty deep. But yeah, Andrew Melvin, I think, is that guy who he's the scouting report confounder, because who are you going to put on him? If you don't put your best defenseman on him, he's gonna hurt you. If you do, you're taking him off of somebody else. And so, obviously that Endicott game was, I would imagine, certainly statistically, but also just in terms of the impact he had on the game, I would think was the best game of his college career. But he's capable of doing that every day. And a lot of it, as I said, when we're moving the ball the way that we can, I just don't envy people trying to figure out who they're going to try to take away, because you might be able to take one person away, and you maybe even can take 1.5 or 2 people away, but we have other people who are also going to hurt you.
In their home opener, Bates men's tennis defeated Babson 8-1 on Friday and followed that up with another home win, a 7-2 victory over MIT on Saturday. Meanwhile, the women's tennis team took care of Mount Holyoke 6-3 on Saturday before shutting out Colby Sawyer 9-0 in the Bobcats' home opener on Sunday. Joined by sophomore Maisie Silverman here on the Bobcast, talking women's tennis. A good 2-0 week for your team. First of all, you went on the road to Mount Holyoke, got a 6-3 win there. Tough match because I guess the court was a little different according to Coach Gaston. How did that work?
The court was really different because Bates, the court is really fast. So they just resurfaced the courts at Mount Holyoke, and the ball was really slow, and it just dropped completely. So a lot of people were having issues where they sliced it and then it would just drop. So it was hard to get the footwork moving and getting ready for that.
And what adjustments did you make personally?
I actually used it to my advantage, and I used the slice to drop shot my opponent, and then I lobbed over their head. So it actually worked out for me. But depending on who other people played, it was hard to just move and get the footwork there.
What's it like playing #1 singles as a sophomore?
Honestly, it's a little nerve-wracking, but what I have been focusing on is just competing and going out there and competing, not really focusing on results, wins, and losses. And I just go out there and compete at my best. That's all I can ask for. So that's basically what I've been doing.
I know both men's and the women's tennis team have been very good at doubles this year so far, and you played #2 doubles. Talk a little bit about how that experience, what your doubles partner's like and everything.
Well, I think with doubles, a major thing is to have a great connection with your doubles partner. Kate and I played actually last year in the fall. So we've had a connection before, and I think really working off each other's energy is really helpful. So in our matches this weekend, we worked off each other's shots, the serve. We went and put away the volleys, so that was really good.
The home opener was this past Sunday. You shot a 9-0 win over Colby Sawyer. How cool was that?
Great. It was actually awesome. Everyone was doing well. We are all rooting on each other. And I think just having this environment where everyone's supportive, everyone's in this positive body language, and supporting everyone is the best. So it's a great way to start the season off.
Absolutely. A 2-0 week for the women's tennis team. We got Middlebury on Saturday. Maisie Silverman, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Great news from our track and field programs. They participated in the Tufts Last Chance meet on Friday, and a number of Bobcats officially qualified for nationals. Women's track and field is sending a record 6 Bobcats to the NCAA championships this Friday and Saturday. Sophomore Sally Cisse qualifying the triple jump for the second straight year, and junior Allison Hill qualifying the 60-meter hurdles for the first time in her career. Meanwhile, the Bates distance medley relay team of Isabel Unger, Claire Marconic, Aiden Eichhoff, and Jessica Wilson is headed to nationals as well. Head coach Jay Hartshorn joined the Bobcast to talk women's track and field. Well, Coach, first of all, Sally Cisse, her second straight nationals, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, she continued to improve throughout the year, just like everyone else, really. But what made her so successful once again?
Well, Sally's first time triple jumping was last winter, and she just picked it up right away and had a lot of early success. And then she sprained her ankle, and we just didn't really finish the year like we wanted to. And this year, it kind of went the opposite way. She just started out a lot slower, but then got better every single weekend, which culminated in this weekend with her tying her own school record, and hopefully she'll sort of continue to improve next weekend. But she kind of had that typical sophomore year of everything's not as easy. I maybe have to work a little harder, and she did that. And it's just exciting to think about that she, still has 2 more years and has this chance to go and improve on last year's performance.
You mentioned that she'd never triple jumped before she arrived at Bates, and so what inspired you, I guess, to have her try that event?
It was just because we do bounding in practice, and she went that much further than everybody else, so it was just clear that that was a good event for her. I remember I brought her into my office, and I was like, we really think you should triple jump, and she was like, okay. So she was a pole vaulter and javelin thrower, and we've tried her at hurdles here, and she's done some long jumps, so she can really do anything, but I think that triple jump is what she fell in love with, and does sort of everything else as maybe a kind of like a hobby, and the triple jump is like her passion now.
And then, of course, Allison Hill, we've talked about her before in the 60-meter hurdles. She's going to nationals and has a pretty good shot, possibly being an All-American. What do you think about those chances?
The hurdles is a funny race. I mean, I feel like every single girl that's there kind of has an equal shot because there's just not a lot of time between all of them. So we'll just sort of have to wait and see. But I think she's ready and as prepared as she can be. She's had a really good season. But I know she can run faster, but I'm also think that she might even be better when we add 5 hurdles when we get to outdoors. So I'm sort of excited for this moment and then forward as we, finish off the rest of the year.
And then a relay team going as well. What makes this particular relay team so special?
I think one thing that's really nice about it is the first time we'll have somebody who runs lead off for the second time at nationals. So our relays, they keep evolving, and we've had some of the same people run the 400 and some of the same people run the 800, but we've never had the same lead off. So I'm excited for Izzy that she kind of gets to go back and do that again. And she was hurt at the beginning of the year, so she had a slower start to her year, which I think actually for her turned out really well. And what was really nice was that at Tufts when we qualified, we had 3 of the women who had been on the relay in the past were all there. And I think that just gave them a lot of energy. So they don't really feel like it's just this group of 4 people, that it sort of extends for the 4 years in front of this. And we're actually, now that I'm thinking of it, so we're going back to Grinnell, which was where we had our first relay that started this run. We, of course, had one that was All-American, a really fun group back in 2007, but this group is sort of going back to where some of this all started. When those 4 went to nationals, they had no idea what was going on, and it was just really funny because they didn't know the procedure, they didn't know what they're doing. So it's nice to kind of go back with maybe a little bit more like, we got this, we know what's going on, and hopefully a few less nerves.
What was the Tufts last chance meet like? It must be a lot of high pressure for a lot of the runners.
I think it definitely was for this particular relay, because you are penalized so much for running on a bank track, and so we knew we had to run faster, that our time was in no way going to hold up. So you really put all your eggs in one basket, and that's a lot of pressure. So in some ways, last weekend felt like more pressure than this weekend. Now, when they get to the starting line, they're going to still feel a lot of pressure, but last weekend really was like, oh, we have to do this. It has to be now, and we have to make it all work. And they did that and then some. So hopefully they got through the pressure and then gained some confidence like that. But there was almost 6 teams made it from that last chance meet to nationals. it was just really that competitive. So 5 did, and the 6th one just missed. So almost half the field is coming from that one race. So we've run against a lot of the really good teams, and that makes then getting on the starting line with a bunch more really good teams a little bit easier, because we just did it. And it wasn't like we haven't run these races with people around us or pressure on us.
On the men's side, senior captain Nick Margitza qualified for nationals in the shot put, and sophomore Adedire Fakaridi qualified in the weight throw. They are good friends, and they are each making their NCAA championships debut. Well, we're joined here on the Bobcast by the 2 men's track and field athletes headed to nationals. We got D-Ray over here going in the weight throw, and Nick Margitza going in the shot put. And first of all, start with you, Nick, as the senior captain. Your first time going to nationals. I mean, how excited are you right now?
Very pumped. I was the first one out last year, so training over the summer, I definitely had some big goals in front of me, and I'm glad to be going in as a 7th seed, and I'm ready to have a lot of fun with D-Ray this weekend. It should be a blast.
I know you guys are good friends, and D-Ray wasn't mean to go with the captain here.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. I think Nick has a very contagious kind of drive, and he definitely affected with me over the summer. And I went into the summer also having pretty lofty goals, and fortunately having him back me up and lead me throughout the way, because I'm honestly not as experienced as him, and it was awesome having him there for me to train with and to come out here and push ourselves every day.
Now, you both went to the last chance meet, right? So I know you've been many times. What do you tell D-Ray about that last chance meet? Because obviously there's a lot of pressure there, right?
Well, actually, I don't know. We went into this weekend just trying to have fun. We both had a good shot at going to nationals without the PRs that we had. So we went in this weekend with not too much weight on our shoulders. Just tried to go through. All week we talked about going through our positions in the throw, just working effective, powerful movements, and not really getting too tense before it. There was nothing much on the line really, in terms of just our seeds going into nationals. So we went in wanting to have fun. We had a lot of fun. So.
Now, D-Ray, I'm going to ask you about this because you just met with the coach there for a little bit. What was that meeting about?
Well, we actually had a meeting about jerseys. So I'm wearing a 2XL, and it fits kind of snug, but I'm pretty sure that Bates hasn't really had big girthy guys like me and Nick go to nationals in the past few years. So definitely moving forward, I think they're going to have to make a adjustment for the sizes of jerseys.
So D-Ray's throwing the day before me, and he's wearing the 2X. So I'm hoping that if it's in good enough condition, I'll wear it the day after. So we're just arranging for those sort of things now. That way there's no surprises at nationals.
Right, I know obviously a long line of great shot putters and weight throwers here. Do you think any of them will be at nationals? Have you heard from any of them?
Well, I don't know if any of them are going to make the actual trip there, but I'll tell you what, I know that they're all going to be there with us just because everything we know has been passed down throughout the guys, and I know Pless and Enos, those guys are going to be texting us throughout the time, and they've already contacted us, and we've been in touch with them. Even guys that we've never even thrown with, just guys in their 40s and stuff, they texting us and just letting us know how lucky we are and how proud they are of us, and it's pretty awesome. And I'm sure next year when D-Ray goes, I'll be with him too, because that's how it is. We're very tight like that. So.
Hey, D-Ray, it must be awesome. I mean, you're a younger guy as a sophomore, but all these guys who have thrown here through the years supporting you guys, what is that like for you?
I don't know. It definitely pushes me a lot to work harder, because it's awesome doing well and then having someone reach out to you, be like, wow, I heard what happened this weekend, man, and seeing video and them saying that, oh, you're so close and whatnot. It's pretty awesome, and I think that's part of the reason why Bates throws are the way they are, because we're literally brothers of iron. So it's pretty awesome to see the tradition is still going on, and I hope that it continues to go on through the years.
And you got that sophomore record recently, right, for the weight throw. What was that moment like when you found out you broke it?
It was surreal, because Sean Enos, he's actually, I call him Dad, because he taught me everything I know, and to be in a position to where I did as well as him his sophomore year is it's pretty awesome, and it's definitely humbling.
All right, last question for you guys. Just get your final thoughts. Anything else going through your mind in advance of nationals?
Couldn't be any more excited to go with a teammate, especially D-Ray. Super pumped to go out there and show him what Bates Track's all about, and I'm very thankful and grateful for all the support we've gotten throughout from our teammates, from our friends and family during the season.
How about you?
Yeah, same thing as Nick. I'm just very excited to be here, and thanks for everyone who supported us through this road. I mean, at times It was bumpy, but I mean, we're here, and I'm very thankful.
All right, sounds great. Nick, D-Ray, thanks so much. This weekend, the baseball team heads to Florida looking to keep up the momentum of their solid 3-2 California trip. They play UMass Boston in a doubleheader on Saturday and Babson on Sunday. Head coach Mike Leonard reflects on the California trip and looks forward to Florida.
Well, Coach, a 3-2 trip to California the other week. First of all, what were your overall impressions, first time seeing your team in action, outdoors in a game?
Really impressed with the athleticism, really impressed with our overall preparation. Guys worked really, really hard all fall and in the preseason, and it certainly showed. They were ready to play. They were physically in a good position to play, and I think that overall, coming out of that week 3-2 after practicing for 8-9 days is a productive trip, especially given the pluses that we saw on the field execution-wise as well.
And some of the returning guys on offense like Fox and Warren and McCarthy really stood out this past week. I mean, first of all, Fox hit over 500. What was working for him at the plate, you noticed?
Brendan is extremely talented. He started for 2 years. I think he would be the first to say that he was disappointed with his production last year as a sophomore, so I think he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. It's never been a question of talent or ability, so I think he has a certain level of confidence this year and definitely a little something to prove, and I think that showed.
Now, this is obviously a small ball team manufacturing runs, right? I mean, it seems like you guys executed pretty well in terms of bunting and stolen bases because you guys stole 12 bases, were only caught 3 times. You guys had as many walks as strikeouts, probably what you like to see, right?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of positives. I think you go into a week where you're playing teams that have had fall ball and have been playing games over the last couple weeks. You want to go out there and try to get runs any way that you can. And I know that our team's athletic, so I'm confident to put guys in motion and execute bunts, but I also think that we're going to turn into a team that can hit the ball in the gap a little bit and score some runs traditionally too. So I'd like to keep pushing the envelope and doing both and getting as many runs as we can, being the ultimate goal offense.
Well, Warren hit a home run, the only home run over the 5 games. This guy, obviously full potential, right? Hopefully this year, do you think this is the year he breaks through, really has a big season for you guys?
Yeah, I think Sam's been through a lot in his 3 years here at Bates, and I think he's extremely focused right now. And I think he is certainly looking to be the best teammate he can be, and I know that his teammates are looking to him to kind of be that middle of the lineup type hitter. And Sam's going to take a lot of pride in working really hard and being a key guy for us this year. He's been a starter for 3 years and had other guys around him. So I think now that we've lost some of those guys, I think it's his turn to step up.
And then looking forward to the Florida trip coming up, it's 3 games over 2 days, if I'm correct. So what are you looking to evaluate in this case, going to Florida?
So it's nice to be able to go into a weekend with a 3-game set, which is similar to our conference schedule, and we get to line up our 1, 2, 3 pitchers and put our bullpen pitchers in a position to pitch in the role that we expect them to during the season. So it's kind of a trial run. It also gives us a chance to build on some of the things we did well out in California and clean up some of the mistakes we made. We looked like a team that had not been on a baseball field for a while with some of our base running mistakes and a couple miscues defensively. So it's a chance to clean some of that stuff up and take a step forward. I think the rust has been knocked off, and our guys are told that this is our reality, and here we are. We don't have kind of that spring training feel anymore. We are in season. So going to Florida, we certainly want to look like an in-season team, not a preseason team.
The only home games this week for Bates Athletics belong to women's lacrosse. They take on Babson at 5 o'clock on Wednesday and host Amherst at 2:30 on Saturday. Men's lacrosse has a huge showdown on the road at number 4 Amherst on Saturday. Sadie James is competing at Nordic Nationals this week, and men's and women's tennis visit Middlebury on Saturday. We'll recap it all next time on the Bates Bobcast.